Alright, so I cleaned that out pretty good. Okay, so let's look here. See, now we're all cleaned up. There's make sure that seal right there isn't broken. Now that's one thing you got to be careful about when you're pulling it out. Just don't mess up that seal, because that's what keeps your brake fluid from actually coming out from the piston. Now I'm gonna put some brake fluid or brake grease on here very lightly, just coat it, because then that's gonna make my transition much easier. Sorry, I'm trying to I don't have anything to hold. So 1 second, I'll put you down for 1 second. Okay, now let's just put this let's put some of this grease on, just very slightly. Put some of this grease on. Don't need much, just need just enough for it to squeeze right through there. Okay, now okay, so you put this grease on. Okay, so you don't want to do too much, so if you have too much, you want to wipe off the excess with your finger and try to so basically this is greased so that it goes in easier. You know, I know a lot of people would say, well, don't you want to not mix stuff, but you know, it's just the way you have to do it. That's the way I do it, at least. You can do it whatever way you want, or whatever way you feel is best. Just stick it in there like that, and once you have it in there, you just want to push down on it. There shouldn't be any pressure coming down at all, because there's no lines connected, you know, so there shouldn't be anything coming down that way. I'm gonna put my camera here, or I'll try to put my camera here so you guys can see what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm gonna take this and try to work it in there with my hands for now. Now I'm gonna want to rock it a little bit. Okay, so now you see it's almost in there now. It's about how far it'll come out by the time you're done. The grease is gonna come right on the tip here. You probably can't see it with this camera here, with this lighting, but you can see a little bit of grease. It just wipes off on its own, so there's not much that's going to be left over after that. Now you take your C-clamp. As you can see, yesterday I bent up this rod that actually supposed to be a twist rod, and actually it was so hard to put this in that this twisted up, so I had to put my vice grip on it. Alright, so let's come take it out a little bit. I actually like the vice grip better because it actually allows me to grip a little bit better. Now take your vice grip and you put it right just down the center. Okay, you start twisting it in there. See, that goes in easily, no problem. This is the way that this is how this is how it should be. How easy it should go in is this easy. That shouldn't be hard like yesterday. It was so hard, and I didn't, you know, it was crazy hard. You know, my advice is, if you're gonna do this, if it's too hard to begin with, and you see that it's rusted out, just, you know, unplug the line and take some of that pressure out, because that's gonna ease it up a little bit, and you might be able to save it. But another thing you can do is put some brake. You can take this boot out and just put some grease on it and try to work it back in, and then, you know, once you have it in, but you know, in my perspective, it's $8.99 for the part, so why not take it? You know, take and do it. If you're gonna do it, just do it. Just get it done. That way you don't have no issues with it later, and your caliper doesn't get stuck. Your piston doesn't get stuck or any of that. So, all right. So once you have it this far, you want to take your boot. So you're gonna take your boot and you're gonna try to work that in there too. Okay, you're gonna put that right over the caliper, or over the piston. Sorry, with the caliper. So you want to try and work that in there. Do the back first. So you want to start with the back, and you can't see. Well, okay, so you start on the back here. You work your way to the front, because then it's going to make it easier for you. Okay. Then, once you have it in that much, you take your flathead. You take your flathead and you just try to work that in. If need be, I would take some channel locks and see if you can even do this with the channel lock. If you got enough grip somewhere, just trying to work that boot inside. Okay, pretty sure that's good. And so then you want to put your little edge on. There's a little groove in there. You want to put the edge of the boot right in there and just feed that in there, just like that. Okay, so that way when it goes in and out, it's just that groove catches the boot and allows it to do that. Okay, and fold that in there nice and neat. Okay, so we're gonna put this in there like this. And I've never, I have never seen somebody do this. I actually didn't even look, so hopefully this is gonna help somebody eventually. Doing this so people can save some money and in the end, learn something new and help themselves out. Okay, so now that I got this far in, now I got my boot on. You can see it's basically a brand new caliper. I basically just rebuilt the caliper. Doesn't take that long, honestly. It's almost takes as long to the only thing that's going to take you longer now is the fact that you have to bleed your brakes, but that should be the least of your worries. So then you want to put your piston back all the way back in, so it's easier for you to put your caliper on and put your brakes on. It should be, that's all the way. Don't force anymore. Once you have slight tension, release the C-clamp and you're done. Alright, so there's my obviously my boot isn't the best boot in the world, and it's just popping out a little bit, but I'm not worried about that as much. I'm just I was just worried about mostly keeping the pressure of the actual caliper. So now this is all the way in. If you want, you could buy a new boot and just replace it, because this one's pretty shabby. It's kind of tearing in places, but it still protects my piston, so I'm not worried about it. The reason this happened to begin with is because I was riding on the metal of metal to metal contact with rotor and brake pad. So this is what happens, because then the dust gets inside of there and it makes this fail. So then your actual piston fails. So right now we're gonna put this back together, bleed the brakes, and gonna put our pads on. Obviously, put the caliper back, hook up our line, bleed the brakes with the bleeder. There's the bleeder right here. Loosen that up, bleed it, tighten it back up, and you're good to go. Alright guys, that's been a video for a brake caliper or a brake piston. This is how to rebuild your brake caliper on a Dodge, a 98 Dodge, basically any disc brake. And this is basically the same process for most disc brakes. Alright, thanks guys, thanks for watching.